Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Fire and Bloom, a House of Dragon podcast presented by the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to
Oh,
be here.
and it is always a pleasure to have you. Today we continue House of the Dragon coverage with episode 2 titled The Rogue Prince. And boy, was a prince rogue.
Very much so, yes. And, let's see, Rogue Prince?
Yes, the Rogue Prince.
Yeah, this was, I was wondering what Daemon's storyline was gonna be, like, from first episode. Like, I, saw him as a Jaime Lannister type character, I'd say, initially. And, I think it's pretty set, and his path is more clear now to me than it was.
Yeah, what's so interesting about this show and makes it can make it at points a little harder to watch than Game of Thrones. And it's 2 episodes in, so this could become more clear. But we don't have we have our equivalents, like what we would say is our Ned Stark and what we would say is our Jon Snow. But they're not Ned Stark, and they're not Jon Snow, as far as morality is concerned. Our good guys are only good in comparison to the others around them.
Okay, that's fair. That is very, to today's standards, almost none of these people are good.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. And that's like watching the show. My girlfriend now, she's, there's a lot of things where she's like, oh, because she hasn't watched Game of Thrones. This is her first introduction to the whole universe at large. And being bed at 14 and, the king's marrying some young girls, and I'm just like, this is very mild of what can happen. This is just the way of the times, so just, kind of strap in. We haven't even gotten a battle yet.
No, yeah, I had a similar thing with Emily yesterday, where she was kind of like, this one's a little harder to watch, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of having a little bit of a
breather. This episode kind of.
Yeah, there's just some rough. I do get it.
Even though it is,
yeah, there is. It is
it is just really weird to watch this on television.
Yeah.
But the thing I keep going back to is this is a different universe. This is medieval. This is way long ago. Whenever this was just the way people thought. So it's always a weird.
No, yeah, it is strange. It is strange, but we will push forth. I just wanted to make it clear up front because I told Emily I would that I don't fuck with any of these people on a real life level. When I say I fuck with a character, I fuck with a character because I that's how much I don't fuck with the other characters. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Who are you fucking with right
the
now?
Most? I mean, obviously Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is top 1 character in this show. No doubt about it. 2, though, is Daemon.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Okay, what's the rationale there? You're fucking with him as in,
Don't get me wrong. I don't like him. I do like the character and what he brings to the table.
Okay.
I think the character is an interesting one. I like Daemon because he seems relatively straightforward about his intentions. He very clearly has a love for his family that he doesn't want anyone else to supersede. You know, when Corlys was like, the king's a bitch, and he's like, hey, I'll talk shit on my brother, you will not. Okay? That's not something I'm here for.
That's true.
I liked that line a lot. But that's the thing, is that whenever it comes to these characters, you know, like I'm talking about the ones who have like a real chance, you know, and in my mind, the only ones who have a real chance at getting there on the throne are Daemon, Rhaenyra, and Otto.
I don't know. That's the thing. We think that these are the people who are going to get up to the throne, but then you have a character that we haven't even met yet that's going to be the one that ends up on the throne. You know, I guess we know the history, or do we know the history of Foley, who sat on the throne, like, all the way through
I guess we don't technically...
we only know up until the Mad King?
That's the thing, is between this and the Mad King, I'm pretty sure it's all Targaryens, but I guess I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? The Targaryens, if there was even like a small period where someone else sat on the throne, you know for sure they wiped that shit from the history books because it's their dynasty that's at hand there.
So it's always either, do we trust the history that we've been told, or is it like, is the history just... Is that their way of being like, we can write whatever we want, really? You know, like, it doesn't have to be a Targaryen, because at the beginning of the show, it says, you know, that Daenerys was the fall of the Targaryens' house. Like, that was the end of House Targaryen. You know, there's really not much coming back from there. But this is the start of the fall of the House of Dragon, right? So, like, the first century of the fall of the dynasty. So, like, how long have they been reigning? Probably, I mean, quite a while.
Since Aegon the Conqueror. It's actually interesting. We get the new theme song, and not a new theme song, but a new title card. And I was like, you know, I was kind of hoping for a new theme song, but as soon as it kicked in, you knew I was all the way okay. You know what I'm saying? You knew I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, that's great. It kind of gives it a connectivity that I really, really enjoy. I thought it was a great choice, and I wanted to give some credit to a Twitter user here called @ConquerorsCrown. Corlys, their name, like what ours would be, Penny Bloom Podcast. Our tag is @PennyBloomPod. His name would be Corlys Velaryon is black. Deal with it. So I fuck with Conqueror's Crown right now, but a very important history lesson through the way of the title card, which I was unaware of. So I'm all credit to this guy @Conqueror's Crown. I could not take credit for this because I don't know shit about shit when it comes to this shit. All right, but he says the House of the Dragon opening is a Targaryen family tree / bloodline represented on King Viserys on his Valyria model. We learned that it was a Valyria model, not King's Landing model, which was really cool. And I love that this is what the whole title card is based around, is that model. But the tree starts with Aegon the Conqueror himself. He says that you can see the doom of Valyria represented in the circle of his crown. The blood starts to run out of it, and you see Queen Visenya branch off to the left, Queen Rhaenys Targaryen branch off to the right. These were the sister wives of Aegon the Conqueror. Yeah, no, so this is very important for me learning about just how incestuous the Targaryen line has been.
I was going to ask that because, like, Jaime, it could not be known that he was trying to get with Cersei. You know, like, it was, like, under wraps. Like, we can't let anyone know about this. But, like, I didn't know if that was the same here. If, like, because I feel like Daemon has love for his brother, and it's true. You know, he's like, don't talk, you know, like that one line, like, don't talk, you can't talk about him. But when it comes to his niece, is it just family love, or is it, like, love?
That's the thing, too, like, is that, like, there's also the thing that with the Targaryens, it feels like they're historically, it's not just I fell in love with my cousin. It's I want to keep the royal bloodline as pure as possible. And if they are pure Targaryen, there's no other family getting involved who can kind of fuck things over. Which is sick and twisted. But I digress. Visenya and Rhaenys here in the title card, the sister wives of Aegon Targaryen, they have a child, Rhaenys and Aegon, named King Aenys Targaryen, and Aenys has an offspring in King Jaehaerys, who we saw getting passing on the reins at the end of last episode, or at the beginning of last episode, and he also had a child, Alicent Targaryen. They, Jaehaerys and Alicent, got married and had children, brother and sister. And those children were Prince Baelon Targaryen and Princess Alyssa Targaryen. Those are the children of Jaehaerys and Alicent. So, brother and sister have 2 children, boy and a girl. You know where I'm heading here. They have 2 children, Baelon and Alicent. And those children are Viserys and Daemon. So, Viserys and Daemon are the direct...
Oh, I thought... Okay.
Yeah, wow. Viserys and Daemon are the direct result of a brother-sister incestuous relationship. The title card continues, but it gets into some other territory that is mostly speculation.
Does Visenya... Did I even... I don't... Visenya. Who is Visenya?
Last week, that's what Rhaenyra wanted to name the child if she was a girl.
Thank you. I don't know why all these random names are popping up like in my brain whenever I was trying to refer to Viserys. But I was going to ask, do you think Viserys, the history nerd he is and everything, like, do you think he realizes that all of the past people before him are doing this, and he's like?
Well, and
I guess, do you think he eventually is like, Alicent, actually, never mind. I don't want to have a kid with you. I'm going to go, like, I don't, like...
It would be interesting. It would be interesting. And another really fascinating thing that I didn't know was that Emma Arryn was his cousin. The queen who died in the first episode was his cousin. So it was already incestuous there. It also makes it kind of fucked up whenever Viserys tells Rhaenys that she is his favorite cousin.
Oh, I didn't even... Oh, that's just... I did not even think that they were related at all.
So
that's great.
Sorry for all the incestuous talk up here at the front of the podcast, but as far as the Targaryen line, it was intriguing to me to know, because I think that Viserys and Daemon might be a good example of the coin flip that we hear so infamously about in Game of Thrones. When a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin. And I feel like one of them came down on the head side, one of them came down on the tail side. That's kind of how I feel at the moment. But and I mean, like, Corlys and Rhaenys bring before them their daughter, which would be like a second or third cousin, right? True. Yeah, they were doing their, because that's even something Lord Strong, when Viserys went to him for advice, was like, well, there's always the fact that she does have Targaryen blood, which is a plus, which means that, like, this is fine to them. Like, if people know the Targaryens have married their sisters and had children with their siblings historically, which is just a whole other level of disgusting for me.
Okay, so it is all good in the eyes of the kingdom.
The king, maybe not okay, like, but they know it's a thing, you know, like.
Because I wonder what changed in the time between here and Cersei and Jaime. Like, what if it was the change of the dynasty?
I do think it was just the Targaryens, though.
Yeah,
like, I don't think it was just like, everyone was out there like, hey, because the Targaryens do it, we can do it. Nah, I think it was kind of like the Targaryens were in a powerful position and wanted to sustain that power for themselves as much as possible, and were also just a little weird. So they decided that they would create a dynasty of incestuous king and queens, which is it's disturbing. It's disturbing. But what it will be interesting to see is how it all results in the Mad King, who is truly mad compared to everyone else so far in the show, it feels like.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of stories of that guy. And,
he doesn't seem like a sweetie at all.
No, not really. It feels... I don't know. It is interesting that you, like, the two characters that are on top right now, like that Daemon's one of them. Like, I think he's probably one of the most interesting characters in the show. Because I feel like he'll keep everyone on their toes all the time. Right. Like, he's not going to let, like, it's going to be a constant battle with him of, like, him wanting the throne and also him wanting to protect his brother. And, like, I feel like Viserys is dead soon.
Viserys is a dumbass, dude. He is not good at his job. I like the way he tries to go about it, but he's just not cut out for this shit. And I also want to make it clear earlier, I don't think Daemon's actually my number 2. Like, I think I definitely like Rhaenys more. I think I definitely like Corlys Velaryon more. I definitely like Viserys more than I like Daemon. It's just that there's like of the characters that are intriguing me the most, Daemon has the most on the table that's like, oh, this is going to be interesting. What he's got going on is going to be fun to watch. I even like Mysaria more than I like Daemon, but there's just and frankly, I think people are shitting on Alicent a little too much. I still don't get it.
Why?
Because they think people seem to be ignoring the fact that Otto is very, very heavy-handed in his pressuring of her.
They think that she's doing this on her own.
Like
They literally show her picking at her fingers, like hating every second.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's
is that what she's doing that for?
I don't know, man. I just think people are ignoring the shit out of like actual storylines, unless there's something in the books I simply don't know about, which is something that is potentially always at play with this show. On the internet, people are not liking Alicent, and I can't for like, she's very clearly
is the point of view that she's the one playing herself into the role of power. Like, what has she done wrong? You know, like, are they saying that she's manipulating Viserys to marry her?
I have no idea. Man. But, like, that's the thing, is that, like, she's clearly being groomed by her father, which is disturbing. Groomed by her father and sent to the king's bed. She's very not okay with it. But she's got that duty to the realm and shit that I think she's going to uphold. And I think that in the coming episodes, specifically next episode, we might not like Alicent all that much. But I don't think think that's been the case so far. People are jumping to that, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like she's kind of a victim right now. Like, I don't see how she's at fault here. Maybe she could have talked to Rhaenyra a little more honestly, but beyond that,
that's the thing, is that they say to never name your kid after a Game of Thrones character until they're either dead or the show's over. And maybe this is one of those examples, you know? I mean, Daenerys, she started out great.
I mean, she was fantastic for 7 seasons and 4 episodes.
Yeah. And then, you know, at the very end, it's like, maybe I don't name my kid after, you know, Daenerys now? You know, it's like, she was great for a while, but I don't know. So it's, you know, that is interesting. I hope that's not, like, spoiling anything, their hate, you know? I hope it's just blind hate that doesn't actually lead anywhere, but
yeah, I mean, regardless though, if it is, it's just a little, I don't know. If your hate is directed at Alicent right now and you have no hate in your heart for Otto Hightower, I don't know, man, you just might be misogynist. That might just be all that's happening. If you're like, oh, I fucking hate Allison, don't trust her, and then Otto comes on the screen, you're like, like, I don't know, man. That's a problem at that point. But what do you say we start 20 minutes in here? A little bit of a scene by scene.
Yes. Let's
Alrighty, let's do it. So Lord Corlys bursts in here, very worried about a tyrant known as the Crab Feeder, amassing power across the sea somewhere, and someone who is known for leaving his victims to get nibbled to death by relentless crabs. That shit was disgusting. I was like, what a way to kick this off, huh?
Yes. Bam! Some nasty hands.
Yeah, it was rough, but yeah, we see the torture and shit, and it's very, very rough to see. Corlys is really mad that 4 ships, one of which was flying his flag, have been taken down, and he's like, it's the far-off threat at the Stepstones, which we heard a lot about last week. He was talking about the shipping lanes, and I like whenever they're like, small moments in previous episodes end up being a big thing the next episode, because that's just how Game of Thrones works, man. You got to keep up with it.
Every little detail.
Every little detail. So yeah, and this thing ultimately leads him to go, you know what? Yeah. Fuck it. Fuck Viserys. You know, like, he's not doing what needs to be done. And that in conjunction with, him not being willing to marry his 12-year-old daughter, which Corlys, I don't know, man, that was far and away the most off-putting thing him and Rhaenys have put forth. Specifically Corlys, because I remember later on in the episode when he's like, what did your mom say about it? And she was like, yeah, she don't know. She don't know about all that. Like that was, I was like, okay, that's good. I fuck with Rhaenys still. Rhaenys still a good chick. But yeah, Viserys doesn't seem to give a fuck about the Stepstones. He couldn't give less of a shit. And the sea snake, that's like the nickname for Corlys Velaryon, the sea snake, which is pretty kick-ass.
That's sick.
He's like, I want to seize the Stepstones by force. Burn out this crab feeder. And Viserys is like, they're pirates. They're the free cities. No one has ever gotten into war with the free cities. We're not going to do it for pirates. And Corlys is like, but what about the fact that Daemon took Dragonstone? Nobody went after his ass. What the fuck happened there?
Yeah. He had a cool... Corlys had a cool line. Corlys.
Right?
Corlys. The line where he was like, you either head directly into the storm, go around it, but you never await its coming, is what he said. And it was like, I don't know if that's completely right. Like, obviously Viserys is just one to avoid conflict and avoid war. His viewpoint is very clear. He says, as king, my duty is to avoid war until it is inevitable, right. And like it is the only option. And yeah, I mean, I just like there's always the side of violence first in Game of Thrones. There's always going to be those characters that are like, we can win. Let's send our army in. Let's go.
Right.
And I like that Daemon and Corlys are two kind of. I think they're going to be our violence front runners.
I think so as well. If I had to guess so myself, but Viserys hasn't said a fucking word about Daemon taking Dragonstone. Oh, important detail as well. It's been like 5.5 months. It's been almost 6 months since the premiere. Where he's like, he's been sitting up in Dragonstone for almost 6 months, and I'm like, was that just a detail we missed in the first episode? And then like later in the episode, he's like, it's been almost half a year since my wife died, and I'm like, no, we took a time jump. Okay. That's what happened here. And I was just like, yeah, that's Game of Thrones to its fucking core, baby. They just like, fuck it. Things take slowly to develop in the universe, Just it takes a while. We'll show you the big events, but nothing massive happened for 5.5 months. But yeah, Otto stands up. He's not very liking to Corlys's tone, and he tells him so. But Viserys is like, man, I don't give a fuck. Corlys has reason to be mad. That's all good. He's like, I sent envoys to Volantis and Pentos to try to talk peace, and he has ships and men ready to deal with the situation. And Rhaenyra pipes up from the corner, you have dragon riders, father. Send us. And everyone's like, the fuck?
a woman and a child speaking not at the
Yeah,
High
Otto's
Council,
like,
but
perhaps
she's actually right,
Otto's
though?
like, perhaps you could get her the fuck out of here. Viserys is like, all right, Sir Harold, go ahead and take the princess to help choose someone to fill the vacancy in the King's Guard, which is what they were talking about when the scene started. After all, the new knight will be tasked with keeping her safe. And as soon as that was the line, I went, it's going to be Kristen Cole. I was very excited for it, but I also liked we get a little sense of what Rhaenyra might be like in a position of power.
She does seem a little lustful right now. And she
wants action. She wants to see the fight.
But she's very smart. She is kind of already a better king than Viserys is already. Like queen. A better ruler, it seems, already. Right. I don't know. She's only made one, kind of decision on her own so far. And it turned out to be very right. If she didn't show up, that ends with blood. I don't think
a war starts.
I don't think both groups walk away. Yeah,
a civil war begins there if she doesn't show up. So it's very, very fascinating. But I think she's going to do some great things in this show. I'm very excited because she's top one for me. I fucking love Rhaenyra. But one by one here at the King's Guard selection, the candidates are marched before Rhaenyra, who is like, Jesus Christ, you are all bitches.
She really did flame
she's
him.
like, y'all fucking suck. Have any of you ever fought anybody?
Yeah. Tournament winner. He's goated with he's been our champion for so many years. What's up with him?
Perhaps you thank him for his leal service. And she's just like, oh, okay, thanks.
And then she's like, all right, there any real men here? And they're like, all right,
I like that.
Here's the guy.
And I like that Sir Harold and Otto were hesitant about it. They looked at each other and they were like, fuck, we know who we got to show her. They set Sir Kristen Cole's little chess piece out there. And they call him up here. And she learns that
they like the symbols and little marble balls.
Fuck it, man. Yeah,
shit.
everybody's got their own little
thing.
Show. I love it. But she learns that he achieved knighthood after putting in time as a foot soldier. And she's like, all right, cool. I choose Sir Kristen Cole. He's seen actual combat, which is very fair, I think. I think that's exactly the type of... And she makes it based off logic and who would genuinely be best at the job. Meanwhile, Otto's like, well, but the House Crakester and Alistair, or Crakehall and Alistair, are really strong allies to the throne. Should we choose one of their sons? And she's like, Kristen Cole will actually protect us, so seems like a good choice. And they're like, all right, okay. I really did like that.
They're used to getting their way. They're very used to Viserys just being like, oh,
that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Let's go with Crakehall.
We will do that, and Rhaenyra, she's gonna have her own.
She's
way
a G.
If she's
a G. I fuck with Rhaenyra, but oh yeah, Rhaenys was watching over this whole sort of thing, just kind of like,
She's kind of a little. She has a little finger in her, in the sense of she'll just be in the important places, not really
very
say
watchful.
Much. She's collecting everything she needs. I feel that there's gonna be huge battle for the throne. Daemon and Corlys.
Yes.
Corlys. Yes. Okay. I always feel like I'm saying names wrong. It'll take about 3 or 4 more episodes until it really
right
for me. But they're gonna be fighting Viserys, if he's still alive at this time, who knows? And then you have all the other people who aren't in House Targaryen that are gonna come and try to fight for the throne as well. So there's gonna be a huge race, and I feel that Rhaenys is just gonna slip in at the perfect time where she barely needs to do anything, and she's just gonna be like, like, you guys, you really want these people to rule the land whenever I was already almost queen,
Right.
and I'm the most sane out of all of them, you know, like, and I have an heir, I guess another female, but at that time she'd
be the queen,
on the throne of so, I don't know, like, she is my...
And I'm fairly certain they also have an older son.
Really? Yeah. Oh, I guess, duh, because it's just Viserys.
Yeah, they were not going to marry him off to their oldest son. But, yeah, they have an older son. So, like, it would also make sense for Rhaenys and Corlys Velaryon to...
They have a
very strong claim. Like an absurdly strong claim. And it's just kind of sitting in the background right now. Which is really exciting. I'm very excited for it. But upstairs, we see Viserys showing Alicent his model of old Valyria, answering at least, what I was thinking last episode. Like, oh, okay, cool. That's not King's Landing. That is Valyria. That's pretty kick-ass. He says, like, he provides the plans, but the stonemasons build the structures, and he asks how Rhaenyra is doing to Alicent. Like, hey, so, how's your best friend, my daughter, doing? Have you, I don't know, told her about anything we talk about, or...
I don't think she'd understand our conversation.
Yeah, I don't think she'd get it, you know, and that was one of the things this episode I was like, eesh, Viserys, you know, like, he's making, like... That's one of the things that's the most disturbing about the decision at the end of the episode, is that it's not, obviously, he chooses to not wed the 12-year-old. Right choice. Good choice. What I don't like is it's not a sense of duty that leads him to choosing Alicent Hightower. It is a genuine connection he feels he has formed with this, I don't know, 15-year-old. He feels she gets him, they talk, they have nice conversations. This is a woman I can marry, you know?
That gift solidified.
Oh yeah, that was this is going to be my wife. That's cool.
Episode 1, we said Viserys gets Alicent pregnant, and then I went on to be like, yeah, Daemon's going to kill Viserys and then assume the child for his own. I don't think that's really going to happen anymore.
I think we kind of needed to remember what Game of Thrones world was like, because I forgot it is perfectly okay in this world for Viserys to marry a child. You know, like, I forgot that's a thing that can and is, in fact, wanting to happen. Like,
it's better.
They want that to happen.
You can produce heirs for longer the younger you get started.
It's disturbing.
You know,
but yeah, so like last week, I just need like all my theories are based around like the secrecy of betting a 15-year-old, but they're like, nah, we're gonna make that the queen, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
You think she actually loves Viserys at all?
No. I mean, I think she has like a respect for him and like thinks he's a good king.
But no love.
But no, I don't think she has any bit of romantic love for him. I think Otto has pushed her into this situation, and that look that her and Rhaenyra share when he announces it, she's very clearly not happy. Rhaenyra's very clearly not happy. You know, like they
Is she just nervous because she's becoming queen? You know, like she is stepping up. Like she's nervous. Like she's like picking at herself. Like
she was doing that even before. I think it's just the.
Is it just her thing?
I think it's a nervous tick. I think that she feels she's betraying Rhaenyra. She's keeping secrets she doesn't want to keep. Her mother, like the way her father is treating her, I think it's enough to make her feel this way, especially following like the death of her own mother, where he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna try you out there now. Like you're a cattle, you know. Like we're gonna make sure that you get bought. I think she's just right now. That's why I can't even fathom thinking Alicent is a bitch. You know, like, there are people who just truly don't like Alicent. I just can't see it right now. I mean, maybe in the coming episodes, but holy shit. I think so far she seems like a victim. She does not seem like she is very happy about anything that's transpiring in her life.
Something must happen, man. Something has to happen with her, because there's no way there's, like... It's not like a She-Hulk hate, where it's like, oh, they're women and power, like, oh, I hate this character. You know, it's not like... There's nothing obvious where, like, men will be like, ew. To me, I don't know, or maybe I'm just blind. I don't think there's a single thing in the show she's done wrong yet. Like, she's only been the victim in every situation.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can possibly think of is that she could have told Rhaenyra that she's been talking to her dad.
Yeah, but is that enough to hate the
Yeah,
whole
that's
character?
my thing. No, it's not. But like that's the only thing I can think of that would be like, oof, that's a little two-faced.
She was trapped. How do you tell your best friend, hey, I'm about to marry your dad?
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, but Alicent goes ahead and dips on down to see Rhaenyra in the Sept to in an attempt to remember Emma. Which was nice. It was cute. She's like, I come down here to remember my mother, and maybe you could do the same. But they have this whole little conversation because Rhaenyra complains about how the small council is already trying to marry the king off to somebody, and Alicent is like, but would it be such a bad thing if he remarried? And that's the line for me where I'm like, that was a little knowing. She was kind of like, what if I married your dad? Will you call me mom? But the
that is an interesting dynamic there now. Best friend turned mother.
Yeah, stepmom. But
which, wow.
The girls are in the Sept, and Alicent suggests that Rhaenyra light a candle and pray for her mother as a way to feel closer. And she's like, I don't know. I've never done this before. Do you think there's any way in particular I could, like, how do I possibly do this? I've never done this before. And she's like, just say whatever you need to. It's between you and God. You got this. And you and the gods, you got this. And so she does, and she like immediately brings Rhaenyra to tears. She's like, wow, yeah, that was potent. I do feel that connection. I'm sad. And Alice, and we cut away there. Some beautiful shots there, by the way. The ring of fire of the candles and stuff, all kind of like pointing inward, which was interesting. I don't know what that.
Yeah, and like the air, like it seemed that like there was like a air, like all they were I don't know. It was just visually
very very pretty.
Cool.
This is like the first scene amongst many where like the visuals are just gorgeous. And like there was another couple visual cues that I thought were interesting earlier in the episode, like whenever Rhaenyra is selecting a Kingsguard, it's very purposeful that when they shoot her from below, like from the ground looking up at her on that terrace, she is very heavily to the right side of the screen, leaving her right side very wide open, kind of like who she's selecting to stand at her side sort of thing.
That's sick.
And I felt like Kristen Cole, like it was framed very interestingly because it broke the rule of third. She wasn't even in like the third line; she was in the third box. She was so far to the right of the screen. But yeah. So like, there's been a lot of very cool visual language in this episode, and that was just one example. But we continue. Alicent.
I see.
Yeah. See?
Very far over there. Okay.
But yeah, Alicent quietly says that when she wants to go talk to Otto, she has to make the effort. And Rhaenyra's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I guess I could go talk to my dad. We could see how this thing goes. But meanwhile, Viserys, Corlys, and Rhaenys meet to smooth over the harshness of the small council meeting, but it's really so the couple can be like, what if we joined the two great Valyrian houses and you wed our daughter, Laena? And I was like, maybe Lena's like, I don't know, 19. That'd be cool. That'd be great. Maybe Lena is just an older daughter who happens to have stayed single a very long time in the instance that this happens. Maybe. Hopefully, please. And Corlys reasons that the family that has the dragons and the family that has the world's largest fleet. I didn't realize that Corlys Velaryon is one of the most powerful people alive. Because there's also the line later where he says he has the richest house in the Seven Kingdoms. Corlys Velaryon has the keys, bro. Like, this man, like, I'm watching Corlys and Rhaenys trying to make a move to the throne. Because, frankly, that's ideal for me. That's like, if there's like a perfect storm where shit ends up, I mean, like, perfect storm, Rhaenyra takes the throne, no qualms, everything's fine. I don't see that happening. Next up, Corlys and Rhaenys taking the throne. I'd be perfectly okay with that. You know, like that'd be ideal.
Yeah, I mean, that was it near the end whenever he was. Oh yeah, he was like, I'm not going to marry your daughter," and he was like, "I'm one of the most powerful people in the realm. Why are you doing this?" And then Viserys is just like, "Well, I'm your king."
Yeah,
you know, like even like. It seems that the show, even though Viserys said, like, "I'm your king, I'm above you," like, it didn't feel that way in the show. It felt like Corlys has...
and it didn't feel that way because Viserys has never asserted his authority like that. You know, like, we've never seen him go like, "Well, I'm the king." And when he does, it falls flat because it's like, you're a pussy. No, like, that's not why. I know that's not why. You know, like, It's just it's a really, really well written show, dude. Like, I was watching this just like, God, Game of Thrones is just back in full swing, man. But
this is episode 2.
Fucking nuts.
Confirmed for season 2 already.
Between 1 and 2, fantastic.
Probably more than that. Like, fuck.
But yeah, Corlys reasons that the family with the dragons and the world's largest fleet should be bound in blood. And it would be a sign to everyone that the crown hasn't been weakened by recent events. And the king's like, okay, we'll see. Kind of off-put by this whole scenario. But yeah, it's rough. I'm like, I don't know. And then the king's, we cut back, and we see that the king is getting his hand tended to. And it is...
Well, I guess it's been 5 months.
It's been 5 months.
And it's only been his finger. So...
Yeah, I don't think...
well, I don't know. I guess it was just a thing on his back at first.
And we don't see his back. We don't know how much worse his back is. It can take a while to spread. But,
dude's dead.
Yeah, we'll see. But, yeah.
Or is he the first where they got the knowledge of how to combat grayscale? You know, because in Game of Thrones, they're like... There was this one way that the Citadel knew of how to combat grayscale. It's only been done like one time, sort of thing, and like I don't know why he needs to live for much longer. I feel like he's just gonna die, no matter what, anyways. But like, it would be cool if he was the first. You know,
if he was, it would also be cool if he was the first that they sent to Valyria to just live out his days as one of those stone men.
Oh, isn't it spread through them though? I wonder. I mean, he loves Valyria, like a Valyria nerd, and like he might just be like, if I'm gonna be gone, then just let me live on the land where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, type shit. I could see
live
that.
out my days or whatever.
I could see that.
And he's the first grayscale, whatever, and he starts it all instead of being the one where they solved it and like fixed it.
He's the first stone man.
Like, he really spreads it to everyone.
But, no, I don't know. I'm less in the camp that it's grayscale now, just because I feel like it was just a common infection, it seems like now, because, I mean, like, I don't know. Not the one on his back. Maybe the one on his back could still be something that's all fuckety, but it could be grayscale. But his finger, that was just an infection that had blackened his finger with decay, and, yeah, they're trying to fix it. by putting his hand in a bowl full of maggots to eat the dead skin away and try hopefully stop the infection.
Yum.
And I was like, that was kind of where I was at. But
it is tough to eat during this show, especially when it opens up with the crab.
yeah,
like,
no, yeah, I
that
never
thing.
eat during this show. It's just not something that's going to happen. But he's like, you know what? I got some time to kill here. So Otto, Corliss, and Rhaenys were like, "What if you married my daughter?" And Otto's like, "Well, that's a fucking shite idea." And the Grand Maester is like, "I think that's pretty great. I mean, we get to keep the royal baby factory going. We could really do this shit. It'd be great, you know. I think it's a solid idea." And Otto's like, yeah, no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Not for the reasons that one should be saying no. Oh, please don't do that. Given that she is 12, that's not the issue he takes. The issue he takes is that it is not his daughter. He would be marrying. Yeah, it was a hell of a scene there because we immediately go to Viserys walking through these gardens with a very small white-haired child, and I was like, oh no. Then we cut and we see her face, and I'm like, no. I was like, hopefully she's a really short 17-year-old or something, just anything. And nah, that's a 12-year-old child, and I mean, I'm very glad Viserys is deeply disturbed by the idea of it. Like it's a small plus to have in the corner of a character, but a plus nonetheless, you know?
Yeah. They could have gone full tilt with this and been, you know, like, it could have been way more awkward to watch. Like, Viserys could have tried to
do something. Yeah, like, it could have been bad.
Say some stuff, or, you know, like, it could have been, like, I think they handled it as well as it kind of could have been.
What's crazy about this whole situation is the person it reflects the most poorly on is Corliss.
That's true.
Like,
yeah, because Rhaenys is the only one that's like trying to, you know, like, well, at least you don't have to bed me till I'm 14.
Yeah.
You know, like she's like, all right, like I know this is not a good situation for you. I'm sorry, but like it's the best we got. But Corliss is just like power. Like, I mean, that's all. It's all a race for the throne. So
yeah, man, I couldn't. I wasn't digging it, but up above. And it was a great interaction. Like, I think they both killed it. The actor and actress there, the little lady actress for Leno being like, but you were the last rider of Balerion, right? And he's like, yeah, just a few years before his death. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. I didn't know Balerion lived that long. That's kind of nuts. Like when he goes down and he sits in front of Balerion's skull at the end of last episode, like, that's a dragon he used to ride. That's his homie. That's not like a connection.
How long ago was he? Like, how long did Balerion live?
Aegon rode Balerion over.
That's what I thought.
So, like, it's been hundreds of years now, or
okay.
100 years. I think, like,
it's the year 300-ish, I think, right now? Or is 300 Daenerys?
See, the thing...
Because this is 170-something years before Daenerys.
Yeah.
Before the birth of Daenerys. And then the house has already been falling for 100 years.
But we
right?
The line here was that it's almost the end of the first century of Targaryen rule when Jaehaerys is passing power. So, like, I think it's been about 100 years since Aegon came through and took shit over, you know? Or, like, maybe...
I guess in our minds we think of 100 years, and that's a lifetime. A long lifetime, but that's like a lifetime. But back here, like...
You making it to 50-something, 60-something, maybe. They keep the line rolling. And especially when a couple of the generations just die. You know, like they had to skip generations because Viserys is Jaehaerys' grandson.
Who?
Jaehaerys was the king before Viserys.
He's the grandson
of Jaehaerys.
Okay. So there was
And Jaehaerys is
Why
the
did it
grandson
skip?
of Aegon.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Aegon is Viserys' great-great-grandpa?
I think so.
Or great-great-great? He's either great or
Great,
two or
great,
three,
great.
I think.
There's
Wow.
another great in there.
Did.
A little nope reference for you. But,
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. Aegon came over, and that's the start of the years.
yeah,
That's where the
it's
years
before
start.
conquering or
Okay.
after conquering.
Okay. Okay.
But Rhaenyra and Rhaenys were watching this from above, and they have to talk about it. You know, we quickly find out that they don't have the most. They're not like, hey, let me talk to you right quick. You know, it's kind of a pain in the ass for them. Rhaenys reminds Rhaenyra that the order of things is that Viserys is going to remarry, and he'll likely have a male heir, and the men of the realm will consider that male, the heir, to be ruler. And she goes, when I am queen, I will create a new order. And I was like, oh, she gonna break the wheel. So on her Dany shit.
She looked like Dany this
yeah.
episode. The outfit, the
Millie
hair.
Alcock, dude,
like,
she looks exactly like a young Daenerys. It's insane. It's insane. But
see where she got it from.
oh, for sure.
Where Daenerys got it
But
from. Like,
Rhaenys brings up the point that the realm had the chance to have a queen back in the day, and they passed. They denied you, Princess Rhaenys, queen who never was, but they bent the knee to me and called me heir to the throne. I was like, ooh, ooh.
They were kind of throwing
They
shots
were throwing
at each
shots.
other.
I ain't gonna lie to you though. I was I didn't like
Rhaenyra
it.
didn't win.
But Rhaenys was right. You know, like
she was right. She won this battle.
Like
here.
that's what sucks is that like even at the end of last episode when Rhaenyra was getting sworn in as the heir, I was like, what sucks is this only means something to her. Every other male-led house in the realm is going, how can we figure out how to not have Rhaenyra on the throne? You know, like that is legitimately what every other man in the realm is thinking, which is fucking shitty.
True.
It's pathetic, but I think like it sucks. But Rhaenys is right here. And she's the. I like that she's the one who's been through it. So like, it's not really. Like I watched this scene and I viewed it as Rhaenys like warning her, not so much as like being like, fuck you, you're taking everything I ever wanted. Yeah. No, like I took it as like her being like, I'm gonna just let you know this ain't gonna work out the way you want it to.
This is how it is. Yeah, it's like she even said like something I don't know.
This
word, but
yeah,
like,
when she's like, I'll just tell you this: men would rather put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne, and your father is no fool. She's like,
Rhaenyra still has like a little hope in the world still. You know, she's like, I can make this change, it can happen, and once I do, it's like, yeah, everyone will change. You know, she still has a little bit of hope, and not immediately thinking that all the men are just going to stick with their ways. But like Rhaenys, she knows the world that they live in, and she's lived a longer life already. She knows, and it seemed that it was like, it's her way of being like, you think everything's going well now, and you're heir. You're not going to sit on the throne, is like kind of what, like it is going to be near impossible for you to get up there. And I don't know. I after this, I don't think Rhaenyra is like, I think she's going to kind of go do her own Dany thing. Like kind of like how Dany was off with like Khal Drogo and she went everywhere before like she came into power. Like I feel like she's going to gather people first. I don't know. I don't think she sticks around.
I could see that, man. My thing is that like by the end of this episode, it feels very clearly Daemon and Corlys versus Viserys and Otto. Now, the thing is that Rhaenyra, at the end of this episode, is clearly not very high on the idea that Viserys is marrying Alicent. She storms out of the room. However, she goes and faces off with Daemon earlier in the episode and is at odds with him. So, like, it doesn't make a lot of... I think we're going to kind of start with her being like, it's all right. I get that this is what has to happen for the good of the Targaryen line. But with Alicent, like, man, that shit sucks. That's my girl. I like Loki. I love her. Like, her face is heartbroken. That's not just like you betrayed me as a friend. That's you're marrying the woman I love. You know, like, at least that's how I was looking at it. That's what she looked like to me.
My radar has not gone off. I've said it from episode 1 that I'm like, these two, they're not just friends, it feels like. There's
something there.
You know, I guess there's royalty. They're royalty, and they're just in a castle, you know, being all friend-like, whatever. But I just felt like there was something more going on there. And imagine.
Tears immediately started welling in her eyes, and it didn't look like oh no, my friend has betrayed me. It looked like my dad's gonna marry the woman that I would like to marry.
Can you imagine her new order that she's gonna create? She's the first queen on the Iron Throne, married to the first, another queen. She marries her stepmom eventually, and then she's like, get rid of all this stupid heir bullshit. Like, who cares if it's your blood? I'm just going to pick whoever the next good king is going to be, or queen's going to be.
Yeah, that all sounds good and well, until we realize that we're left with the same system 172 years later when Robert's rebellion overthrows them.
That's the thing that it comes back to, is like, we kind of know where it's going. And unless the history's erased somehow and we just don't know about that yet, like, there's not much hope for the women here. Which
it really blows. It really blows. That's my thing, is that I want Rhaenyra to succeed so bad, and I hope she does, and that there is some sort of workaround there. I just don't know how it'll happen, you know. But later on, during an intimate meal in his quarters, Viserys tells Alicent about the Lena plan, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, you continue the line. I get that's a good idea. Sure." And she's like, "I do have something to give you, though." And it's the dragon he dropped earlier, all fixed up by the stonemasons. And he's genuinely like, this is the most thoughtful thing anyone's done for me, and I don't know how long. Everyone sucks up to me all the time, but no one's ever been, like, nice. You know, like, everyone's like, oh, you're the king, so I'll pay you respect, but I'm going to take advantage of you. This is a genuinely nice thing she's done, which I have the feeling he doesn't see a lot of. But
is this her doing it on her own, or do you think Otto had any?
I mean,
I feel like this is one thing she actually.
There's a decent chance she did do this on her own. You know, like it is a really nice thing. She sees that, like, again, though, it doesn't come back to her being like, "Oh, I have a romantic attachment to Viserys." It's that his wife just died, and that she lost her mother, and she knows what that pain is like. So she's like, "Let me do something nice for this man." You know, like I think it very well could have been like, yeah, Otto's not nice enough to come up with something like this. It almost certainly had to have been Alicent that just took it under her own, but I don't think she did it with the intention of being like, yeah, I'm romantically interested. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
But Otto interrupts this little moment and tells the king that there's an emergency small council session. That Prince Daemon stole an egg. A dragon's egg in the dark of the night, leaving behind a note announcing A, he's taking a second wife in the tradition of Old Valyria, and it's going to be Massaria. B, they are expecting child. And C, they are going to put the egg in the cradle, as is House Targaryen custom. And they're like, Rhaenyra's like, wait, whose egg? And it turns out to be the egg of Dreamfire, the straight-up coldest name for a dragon I've ever fucking heard. Dreamfire? What?
That is sick. Love how Viserys before this was like, it's just Daemon doing his whole thing.
He's like, no, I can't humor this with a response. You know, like, I'm not going to go to this shit. There's no fucking way. Oh, that was the egg we were going to put in Balon's cradle. Okay, yeah, let's go.
All right, fuck him. Fuck him.
We're going.
Head on. Like, he was almost like, all right, we're killing him. Like he was like, fuck it. Like,
yep, he dies.
This dude, he calls my kid the king for a day, and then he has the audacity to take that egg. You know,
no. He was like, and he was ready. I really fucked with that. That was a really strong part of the episode. But I also appreciate, like, Otto's tactfulness is not to be confused with how shitty of a dude he is. Like, this is genuinely an interesting move.
Smart play here. Smart play on Otto's hand.
Smart play to go. Yeah, smart play to go. It's dangerous for you. An easy way for him to start a war, which destabilizes the throne. It doesn't go. I don't think this ends up going the way he wants it to. I think he goes there with the intention of starting a war.
Dude, I was ready. I'm like, this is episode 2. I have 2 dragons on either side of this bridge and an army in the middle. And I'm like, is it really going? Is this happening right now? Like, are we getting battle second? Like, is this what's going to happen? And then, well, I guess I was thinking battle before the second dragon showed up. Once the second one showed up, it was kind of like, okay, no more battle.
Right.
Probably. But I don't, like, they know what we're looking forward to, and they set the shot up perfectly for it to...
Dude, these shots at Dragonstone were fucking gorgeous. Like, the most... I finally got, like, those, like, Lord of the Rings vibes from the Lord of the Rings movies. This felt so mythic and, like, giant and grandiose that it was like...
Yeah, up in the clouds. Have we ever seen dragons? Like, have we ever seen... Not dragons. Dragons reach, like... I think I might be thinking of Harrenhal. Whenever it's, like, a destroyed castle. Was Dragon's Reach ever... Like, have we seen it in Game of Thrones?
Dragonstone was where Dany...
Dragonstone
arrived at the beginning of season 7.
But was it, like, destroyed and in ruins, though?
It was not.
Like,
it wasn't
wasn't
necessarily in ruins,
still,
but it was run down for sure. Like, it'd been abandoned for several centuries. Stannis Baratheon also holed up in there. His whole
oh, duh. Okay, that's the connection.
We actually go to the war room where Mysaria and Daemon talk to each other with, like, the dragons carved on the wall. We saw that room all the time in Game of Thrones.
Thank you. Yes, I was trying to put together where it was in Game of Thrones, and I'm thinking of all these dark, black castle looking, and who was there? Like, who?
Yeah, Stannis Baratheon.
Stannis.
Thank
you.
Yes. Daenerys arrives there at the beginning of season 7 when she makes her way to Westeros. But nevertheless, we arrive at Dragonstone, and Daemon is meeting Otto, carrying the egg alongside Mysaria on the bridge, and Otto orders him to vacate Dragonstone, and Daemon's like, I see we got a new Kingsguard member here, Prince Crispin, as I recall, or Sir Crispin, as I recall, and he's like, it's all right, you don't remember my name. Perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked him off his horse.
Boom! Fuck him. Like, this dude, he's my one.
I like
he's
Kristen
my
Cole.
one.
I like Kristen Cole, man. But, I liked Daemon's response to her. He was like, haha, good. Like, he was like, all right, fuck yeah, that's how this is going to be. I like that. But, yeah, there's a lot of shouting of treason and of whores. Like, how are you gonna?
Otto was
like,
he was letting Daemon
another one where I'm just like, man, fuck Otto hard, because, like, I like Mysaria. Mysaria's a good chick. Just because she's, no house was conceived of highborn. Y'all all started somewhere. Y'all weren't just like, fuck it, now I'm king. Like, that's not how this worked. That's why I love it.
It's just sad that, like, he's just using her, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, and that's why I'm led to believe that, like, he is set on who he wants as his wife or to bear his children. There's only one person, and it's his blood. Like, I don't think he wants to marry or have kids with anyone else. Like,
you think his goal is to have children with Rhaenyra?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that.
The necklace at the beginning, the Valyrian necklace that he gave her, calling her beautiful. Like, they're planting the seeds now, and, like, I think that's his end goal. Because if he wants the strongest claim, he has to beat Corlys and Rhaenys and their claim. And the only way to make that stronger, in my opinion, is to be like, we don't have Valyrian blood. We have pure Targaryen blood. The already heir, Rhaenyra, already heir, named heir. Now I'm married to her, so now I'm the heir because I'm man, and you were gonna pick me maybe anyways before. And now I have a kid too that is pure Targaryen, and I already have a dragon and an army. I don't like.
I could see it. I could see it for sure. It's nothing to fuck with. I'm the only person I root for in this show. Truly, is Rhaenyra. That's the only person I'm here for. I don't like anything else that happens. Man, I won't love it, but I'll enjoy watching it. I'll tell you that much. Otto's not taking kindly to the fact that he's shacking up with Mysaria here in Dragonstone, and Daemon's like, all right, you want the fucking egg? You want Suka? Come get Suka.
Every show has an egg,
Every show has the egg. That was a Mandalorian reference for those who are just here for the Game of Thrones shit. We will never forget Suka here on the Mandalorian rewatch. Suka! The egg! But yeah, so that's what it's so funny every time they say some shit about the egg too, because he holds the egg out and he says, "You've come for the egg." And it's just like,
you want the Suka.
referring to something as the egg. I know that it's important that there's a dragon in there, I get that, but it's just so funny to you want the dragon's egg. Even that would be more oh yeah, foreboding and that's lethal. But just going, you want the egg? It's so funny to me. It's always funny.
How do dragon eggs work? Because if Khal Drogo was just holding on to 3 of them, or whoever it was holding on to them,
it was because they were gifted to Daenerys at her wedding by what was his name?
Fuck. Was it the dude in the super rich town? Or
yeah, he was homies with Viserys or Varys. He was homies with Varys. It was kind of he had a really weird, really goofy sounding name because he was just he was a rich dude who worked as within the with Varys to kind of orchestrate who's going to become who and stuff like that. I can't remember his name, but he had the dragon eggs.
So, do they have to be born in fire, or can they hatch whenever? Is it a timed thing? Is it
I couldn't tell you. Given what we saw in Game of Thrones, it seems like they're born via fire, they have to be burnt out. But there's also this thing where that was something of a rebirth for Khaleesi, for Daenerys. So
did it have to happen that way?
Yeah,
that felt like more of Daenerys' moment than just all right, I'm birthing these. You didn't, she was the mother of dragons, yes, and everything, but it felt did she know that was going to happen?
I think there's a chance she did. That's the thing, though, is that I couldn't tell you the tradition of the how they have the dragons coaxed out of their eggs, but because they imply that the egg would sit in the cradle with the baby. It's not like it would be born at the same time as the baby. It would sit in the cradle with the child, and and then one day they're like, "Cool, throw it in the fucking fire, man. You're gonna have a dragon now."
Okay.
Yeah, I take it that's probably the way they do it. They have to maybe the eggs have to develop to a certain point, and then they can do it. A certain amount of time allotted before they can do it. But I don't know. It kind of seems like it's been 5.5 months. This is the same egg as what they were going to do for Balon.
That's what I'm
saying. The heir for a day. So
I feel like they have some choice.
I think they do too. I think they can just kind of do it whenever they want. Maybe it's a tradition in a Targaryen's life. At a certain age, it's their bar mitzvah.
You have come to dragon age. You will now have your own.
Now. Yeah. Birth this dragon. Type shit. You know what I'm saying? And I could see that for sure. But It probably is that, actually, like some sort of ceremony for a certain age a Targaryen has become. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that being the case. But nevertheless, Daemon's like, "Oh, you came for the egg," and he holds it straight out. And Otto's like, "You fucking wouldn't. War here. You do this here. Violence here means war against the king." And Daemon's like, "Fucking good."
He was about it. He's like, good.
I think,
What
and
do you
I
think
can't
I'm
tell
doing?
if he's. I can't tell if he's like, "Fuck yeah, I want to fight the king," or if he's like, "You won't do shit, Otto." If he's like, "You
Like,
won't,"
he knows that he won't swing
yeah,
first.
like, "You're a bitch. You won't do shit, Otto." And so, like, it's kind of like, I think Daemon truly is like, you know what, fuck it. If war is what it has to be, war is what it has to be. But I don't know. His relationship with Viserys is so interesting. His relationship to his family is so interesting because he seems to have a great deal of love and admiration for his family. But like he says here, war, like, violence here means war with the king. He says, "Fucking good, man. Like, yeah, let's do that shit." So I don't know.
He's like betraying his family, but at the same time staying loyal somehow.
Because I think he thinks it's truly what's best for the family. What he truly believes is best for the Targaryen line is if Viserys isn't king. If Daemon is the heir and he gets to be king. Now, I think that's a very narrow vision of his. Personally, I don't think he would make an ideal king. I think, in fact, he would make a very poor king. I think he's a pretty shit dude in comparison to Viserys. I think it's been a thing throughout Game of Thrones, a premier characteristic of a good king is having little desire to be the king. And
Yes.
Daemon seems to have all the desire to be the king, which is typically a sign they would not be an ideal candidate.
The gods have yet to create a man that does. What was the line from Otto?
Yeah,
it's the
he's
only
like,
line that I'm like, okay, I liked you there for that 1 second there because that
the
was
gods are yet to create a man who isn't patient enough, who isn't patient enough for absolute power. Like, if they have the possibility of getting absolute power, they'll wait.
Oh, that's what he said.
Like,
I thought it was something just like there hasn't been a person born who doesn't want power.
Yeah, he was like, I think the line was like, exactly, the gods are yet to create a man who lacks the patience for absolute power.
Damn, that's that. I wonder if that's in the IMDb yet, like in quotes. Like, I wonder if they have that for like the episodes.
I mean, it's pretty fucking strong. That was a great quote. But yeah, and I think Daemon's that guy. Like, he's willing to, if it means he'll be the heir, he's willing to let that shit unfold how it'll unfold. But nevertheless, swords are drawn here, and they point them at each other. But Caraxes goes ahead and lets out a bellowing roar, climbs to the top, and Otto's like, "All right, guys, sheathe your fucking steel." I thought it was a hilarious line. It's like, this is not something that is going to happen today, and I don't know why I thought it might be. We know he is a dragon rider. I didn't know what the fuck Otto's plan was here. Like, he has a dragon. You're fucked.
Yeah, that's the real reason he said, like, all right, put your swords away. He's like,
yeah, absolutely.
He's like, yeah, if we do fight here now, if you do want to resort to violence, we die. The king will get the message and he'll send his army, but, like, right now, we die. There's no... What do you do
Otto had
against
no
a dragon?
leverage.
What do you do? Like,
that's the thing. Why on earth did he even think it was a good idea to go out there and threaten him? Like, it's not like... The only reason is if he wanted to start a war. Like, that's the only reason he'd be okay with it.
I felt like his goal was probably get it to the point to piss Daemon off enough to say, like, all right, we'll be back with an army, be ready. I think that's, like, what Otto's goal was, is not to fight right then and there, but to be like, all right, we're coming. We're coming back for Dragonstone.
I'm coming for that ass now. you're fucked. Sorry, I'm getting all nice and wrapped up in my blankie.
Gotta be cozy, man.
Yeah,
man,
it's cold down in this.
Oh, the little
this
switch
basement.
up of the shirt. That shirt is sick.
Thank you.
Starry Night.
Yeah,
Mando?
no, it was the shirt. I was wearing the shirt I fell asleep in last night, and I was like, we had a little break here in the middle of the episode that no one will be able to tell was there. I took a shower. It's like, let's get all nice and clean, cozy. Let's get renewed for the second half of this episode. But this shit was no joke. I really, really liked this scene, and it seems like, all right, I guess tensions are going to cool here for a second. It could still resort to, like, I don't put it past Damon to go ahead and just kill Otto here if Rhaenyra doesn't show up here in a sec. But whenever we hear like these little low rumblings, and then we see the fucking mist start to like part, approaching them. And then Rhaenyra flies over on Syrax, man. I was like, ooh, and the way she like circles the area and lands behind Hightower and his group, I was like, that shit was lethal. That shit was magnificent, dude. But
it's my castle, Uncle. You're in my castle.
Yeah. So
what up?
Excuse me. But yeah, she like the hand of the king. Otto here is like, all right, Kristen, take the princess back home. Take her back to her dragon and take her home. She's like, y'all better be careful about touching me. Syrax is very protective. And then the way they all go, like, they all like,
okay.
They all like back the fuck out of the way because they're like, I ain't even going to come close to touching you here. But she approaches Damien and they speak in High Valyrian again. I like that they almost exclusively speak to each other in Valyrian.
It's interesting. Do you think it's more of a no one else understands what they're, or not a lot of people can understand what they're saying, so it's more like, let's talk to each other in private? Okay.
I do. I think that's the case. But yeah, she's like, this is my castle. You got to get the fuck out. I'm the heir to Dragonstone, bitch. And she's like, so you're saying you got like you're to be married? You're gonna have a baby? And he's like, yeah, it's a celebration, I'm to be wed and shit. And she's like, so you're to be a father. And he takes a look back at Massaria and goes, one day.
Eesh.
And I was like, that was my single favorite. That was one of my favorite lines in this episode. Because Daemon was lying his ass off to everybody. He could not lie to Rhaenyra.
Okay.
He couldn't stand fully behind the lie to Rhaenyra.
I guess I didn't think about it that way. I thought of, he sent word to King's Landing. The letter he wrote to where he took the egg, or I don't know where he left that.
Yeah.
But he was like, all right, here's my business. Bam. Fuck you. Whatever. He doesn't, I don't know if he really loves Massaria.
Yeah.
I don't know if he really loves her. I kind of hope that he does, because it'll be like kind of like a Tyrion, Lannister, and I forgot the girl. That he was kind of like the same sort of
dynamic.
Thing, where it's like, I actually I love this woman, and like I don't want to be restricted in the person I love. Like I don't want to marry for whatever. But like I took it as he didn't want to tell Massaria that they were going to get married and have a kid yet. Like instead of keeping the lie from Rhaenyra, it was he just hasn't told Massaria yet either, because she's shocked. She's like, we're getting married? We're having a kid?
Yeah.
And like, I think it was just, in my mind, it's kind of Daemon's way of being like, you're my wife for now, but like, you're just a placeholder, is like what it felt like to me whenever I was watching. The one day, it didn't seem that it was like one day with you, I will have a kid. It didn't seem that like you're going to be a father and one day, that's kind of the way I took it.
I see. I took it as he had not informed Massaria that she told them they were pregnant. So he like looked back at her and was like, sorry about that. Yeah, one day.
Wait, so you think they're already pregnant? Like she's already...
No.
Oh.
I think that he had not informed Massaria that is what he told everyone else, obviously.
I got you now.
Like
I like it that he can't lie to Rhaenyra, though. I like that more, if that's it.
Because he was bold-faced lying to everyone else. If he would have lied the same way he'd been lying to everyone else, he would have gone, yes.
Yeah.
I am to be a father. But him having to go one day means that there's something about Rhaenyra that makes him want to not full bold-faced lie, you know, like or maybe it's just to protect Massaria there, because if he goes, yes, she's like, well, what the fuck? You know, like that's not true. Like plainly right then and there, maybe. So one day provides the, like, yeah, 9 months from now, sure.
Ooh, that could go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to interpret that line, to be sure, but it's a pretty epic scene here as she goes, here I am, the object of your ire, the person who disinherited you. If you wish to be restored as heir, you'll need to kill me. So do it.
Damn,
and
what a power play right there.
So do it and be done with all this bother. And he doesn't. Instead, he turns around and chucks the egg at her, which I was like, Jesus
fuck, you're right,
Christ.
Damn it. He's like, dang, you beat me. Oh, I thought I did so good here. I
thought I had the cards, bro. Thought I had full sabak.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a nice, as of right now, I am one. Every time Daemon is put in his place, I am for. Right now, I want to see him die. Ideally, right now. I don't really want him to die. I think he'll just add such a cool aspect to the show.
But yeah, he's a shitbird.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah,
he
again,
wants
I want
to protect
to
the
make it clear.
Targaryen. He wants to protect the house, though. That's like that's his goal. Like, I don't think it's to protect his brother. He loves his brother, his family, but like, if
his brother needs to die, he needs to die. Like I think that's kind of his approach. And yeah, I want to again make it clear, I do not like Daemon Targaryen as a person. As a character, he provides a great deal of intrigue into this show. Like his storyline is a premier reason I come back every week, and a premier reason I'm excited every week is to see what the fuck Daemon Targaryen is going to get the fuck into. You know what I'm saying? Because like this was the driving force of the episode. This is the scene. You know, like this was the moment of the episode that made you go, "Oh fuck, yeah, this is good. This is good." But yeah, so she goes ahead and places that egg in a little canister, a little warmer, and she mounts her dragon and flies on the fuck out of there. But go ahead.
Was it okay? I didn't know. Whenever she landed, did she seem kind of like inexperienced, like a little bit? Like I felt like whenever she landed, for some reason they focused on the landing being like a little rough, and she like kind of, I don't know if it was just landing a dragon is like that, or if like they're trying to be like, she's not even at like, she's a beginner, like kind of, I don't know. Like I don't know why. It just felt like a little weird thing to focus on, is that like the landing was a little rough, and it kind of like showed her face, like that she was struggling with it almost. Like whenever I was like,
interesting. I've always taken, because I always thought Dany was a little, like, I've always just thought like every landing with a dragon is tough because they're just such massive and massive creatures that it's like, and a small platform she's landing on here. I think it was going to be a tough landing for anybody, but I thought it was like kind of triumphant, like the way they like zoom in on her when she's like atop her dragon and they've landed, and she's like, she's just kind of like staring at Daemon like, what the fuck, bruh? What you on? What the fuck do you think this is? God,
I love all the memes that are coming. But also, Viserion, I think the reason I picked up on that is whenever you were talking through the history of the family tree, Viserion is like was one of them, like is one of these people, and
Visenya.
Sorry, fuck, every time I get just a little bit wrong, but I don't know, this framed it a little, like whenever you're talking through it, I was like, okay, that like this makes sense, but like now, like having the names just pop up next to the thing, like in video form, it like clicked for me a little bit better for some reason or whatever.
Yeah, very clearly a family tree once you get it laid out like that, and that like resembles Jaehaerys' crown.
Yeah, it was sick. Like all of them are like, I don't know. The previous intro changed a little bit as the show went on. You know, like Winterfell, whatever was happening, or when I'm talking about Skyrim now, or no, is that actually
Winterfell? Winterfell is the kingdom of the north.
All right, I've been playing Skyrim. Winterhold, sorry, is the Skyrim city. I have too many medieval timelines going on right now, but but like I'm curious if like as the family tree grows, if like we will see new bloodlines like go like kind of go into whoever.
Oh yeah, almost definitely. I think that's a good. And I mean, as we see them expand and as we see them get nixed off.
Oh, maybe I didn't even think of them. Yeah, because some are filled with blood, as in like they're gone,
they're dead. Yeah.
But like Rhaenyra's was still
pulls up. Yep.
Oh
yeah,
shit! I didn't think about that. We're gonna get a death, and then the intro is gonna show their circle, blood everywhere. Like
yeah, it's gonna be strong. But inside the Palace of Dragonstone, Mysaria is not happy. The whole getting married and being pregnant thing was not something she was privy to. And she was like, yeah, I swore a long time ago to never put my life in danger by having a child. She's like, childbirth is not safe. I'm not doing it. And furthermore, she fears that the king might show Daemon mercy should the need arise, and he would not hesitate to kill her.
The literal childbirth is dangerous for her. Also, just existing right now is dangerous for her. Yeah. And I think the interest, like, they dealt with, a last episode with killing a baby, or trying to save the baby to kill the mother. And, like, this line of, like, childbirth is dangerous, I don't want to risk my body, doing that. And, like, it clicked that, like, that's their version of, like, giving the woman the choice in the mat. Like, that's the choice that they have here. Instead of, like, in the modern day, it's more, abortion and whatever. But here, like, I feel like they're trying to hit on the same thing here. But it's the medieval version of childbirth can literally kill me, and you just want to force a baby into me. So, like, maybe no, it's my body. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. Like, that childbirth is legitimately dangerous because they don't have hospitals and they can't just birth a baby like it's nothing anymore. I guess it's still not nothing, but
it's still dangerous modernly. It's just that, like, then it was even crazier levels of dangerous. Like, it was just she's not going to put her life in danger by having a child, and furthermore, by existing and being supposedly married to Damian, carrying his baby, it puts a target on her back because now there's a possible heir in her belly. Which is not something that people typically take kindly to in this sort of setting. But we learned that Mysaria has been bought and sold several times over. She's a slave historically, and she came here not because she wanted gold or power, but because she wanted to be liberated. And Daemon asks, liberated from what?
Yeah, like, from
fear. Fear, she says. Being at his side is supposed to not be the least scary thing. How can she be touched if she's at a Targaryen side? Like, that's liberated from fear here. And now he's painted that target on her back.
Right back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a fantastic scene. Mysaria and Daemon acting off each other there was brilliant, and I love Missaria. I think she's going to be a fantastic character. And now they kind of present us with the possibility that she might be someone that turns on Damon. She might be someone who, like, I think it'd be awesome if, like, Alicent turned on Otto and Viserys. Missaria turns on Damon and Corlys, and
the women come together.
Yeah, be a legendary team up.
Yeah, just
legendary team up. But and I'll be interested because I still want to know how Rhaenys. Like, I feel like we might. My, like, biggest, boldest theory for Rhaenys is that she has her husband killed.
Whoa. Okay.
That she has Corlys Velaryon killed, and she comes into his power and sort of. And that's a pretty far down the road sort of prediction I have there,
though.
But
kind of makes sense, because if they were to put their claim in, is Rhaenys more likely to sit on the throne or Corlys? Like, even though Corlys isn't Targaryen blood,
people would be like, he'll be the king.
And she sees that and is like,
nah.
Did they actually love each other, or were they married just for...
They seem to. Like, I think it was probably initially like, you're a Targaryen, you're a Valyrian, let's combine the Valyrian houses and go ahead and... But they seem to actually have a connection that is loving at the very least. And maybe not in love, but there's a love there, I'd say. So it'll be interesting to see. But that's like my biggest, boldest theory that I don't have any basis for yet. It's just kind of like... Rhaenys seems to be that sort of in the background, kind of like, I don't know. There's something about her that feels like it could go any direction, you know. And I feel like that's I feel like that'd be a fun direction to take that character.
Yeah, she's the sleeper of this show. I think she's the. I don't know. Is the general public like, oh, she's a top contender? Like, I feel like people are, I think, going to focus on Daemon more and Corlys and. Rhaenyra.
I've seen a lot of people say they really like Rhaenys, but I haven't seen a lot of people say, like, oh, I think she'll end up on the throne. You know, like, I think that's... and I don't necessarily know that she'll end up on the throne, but I think there's a potentiality that maybe she does everything she can to assure Rhaenyra does. Or maybe she does everything she can to assure that a queen ascends the throne and that none of these dudes do it. I think that'd be another really cool way to anchor her story as well. But we shall see. We shall see. But next up, Rhaenyra gets home, and Viserys is quite pissed to find out what she has done. You are my only heir, he says. You could have been killed. And she's like, well, I retrieved the egg without bloodshed. Something that I don't think Otto could have accomplished alone. And he's like, gah! Fuck. Yeah, probably. You probably just prevented a war, son of a bitch, but shit. Yeah, her father is, he acknowledges the truth of her statement, and he's like, all right, fair. And it makes room for them to have a pretty honest conversation for the first time in a long time about how they're both in mourning over the passing of her mother, Emma, and how they both know he has to remarry. Like, that's something that of course it was going to happen. This is the duty of the king after all, and so on and so forth. One of my favorite quotes from earlier in the episode, that was Otto being like Two-Face, where he's like, he clearly wants Alicent to be who he marries, but he's trying his best to make, like whenever he's like, I loved my wife and I have no duty to remarry because of that. Therefore, I do not envy you, your grace, for you having to remarry. Like, I have no interest in doing such a thing. And I loved that line, you know. But it sucks that it's coming from him when he's very clearly not meaning that, you know. Like, it's very Two-Face of him. But still, I did really enjoy this little conversation between them.
He's because we've only seen Otto for 2 episodes, but he's been doing this.
Who knows how
Like,
long?
I feel like he's the one really leading. Like, he makes the decisions. Like, he's the one, or honestly, the council is the ones who makes the decisions here.
Yeah,
like,
they get everything they want, man. Like, Viserys very rarely goes no. You know, like he's all right. Well, if it's good for my reign, sure, fuck it. I don't care. Do what you guys need to. That's what it feels like. But
I like how whenever Viserion, he's like, you were wrong. You know, you're young. You will learn. And it was in the tone of like, you know, you're wrong. So, you know, learn the lesson. But like at the same time, he's like, damn, but you know you're right. Like, you know you did the right thing. You're young. You'll learn. But damn, you're already learning so fast. Like,
yeah, whenever she's like, sorry about earlier in the
in the council.
Sorry
room
about
or
earlier
in
in the council. Yeah, at council, and he's like, you're young. You'll learn. The thing for me though that sucks about that scene is she just sits there like, do you have anything else to say there? Like, A, was I right? B, will you teach me then? Yeah. I'm young, I'll learn. How am I going to learn if you won't tell me what I need to do?
Yeah, like, I'm your heir. Like,
you need to be grooming me for ruling. You know, like, I think that's a key line in her realizing, like, he probably has no intention of making me the ruler of the kingdoms. You know,
he knew he'd remarry too. You know, and that's Renée said, like, your father's no fool. Like, he knows what would happen if a woman were to sit up there. Yeah, it's the sad truth, but I mean,
I appreciate that Rhaenyra never, like, she saw right through it. You know, like at the beginning with Alicent, whenever she's like, he named you the heir, and she's like, to spite Daemon. It wasn't because I was the choice he wanted. It was so that Daemon wasn't the choice. You know, like that was the only reason.
It did get a little fulfillment in like Rhaenyra was like, I just want him to see me more, you know, like see me for more than just a little girl or whatever. And then like Viserys is like, what, like you've turned into a grown woman, you know, and then you kind of saw Rhaenyra like, finally, like the first little bit of respect you've given me, you know. Like,
right.
I don't know. I think
I really enjoyed this interaction, though. You know, Rhaenyra says, "You are the king, and your first duty is to the realm." Mother would have understood this just as I do, and I appreciated that. Like, he truly is mourning Emma. Like, he has no he has no interest in remarrying. He does understand that it is just something that he has to do. Wait, go back to that last picture. Is that dude just scarred from fire?
That's what I was going to say. Is that, like, what is that scar there?
Sorry. We'll get to that at the end. Joe's scrolling through pictures on IMDb from the episode. I had to take a look-see to see what the fuck was going on. But, yeah, no, I loved this interaction. I think Rhaenyra and Viserys, this was, like, the best interaction they've had so far for me, besides, you know, the one where he ascended her to heir of the kingdom, which would have been cool if it was fully honest. You know, I think he had every intention to remarry. He knew he would have to one day. It just sucks that it has to be with her best friend. That's the shit that's really, really gonna hurt, you know. But yeah, Mother would have understood this just as I do. That shit hurted. However, the next morn, we get a good morrow out of Viserys, which I really appreciate. I like to throw out a good morrow, a fair morrow. Fair morrow to my good morrow, fair gentles. That sort of thing. It's one of my favorites. I might introduce the podcast weekly from here on in with a good fair morrow, good gentles. Hello. But Viserys throwing out the good morrow there. He orders them here to announce that he's decided to take a new wife. It is time. It has been long enough, nearly half a year. And Corlys, I just want to say, I just put on a master class in stalling. And Corlys wouldn't look quite so triumphant if I was him. He's like, oh, yes, you do. You are here to announce a new wife. Of course you are. Here I am. I am so happy that the time has come.
Puts his arms on the table.
He had a little smirk. He was like, I'm about to become one of the most powerful men alive.
Let everyone
Even
know.
more so. We see Rhaenyra as she looks at Alicent, and she's like, her like eyes widen a little bit, and she like starts to like get a little teary eyed before he even says anything, because Alicent is standing quite near Viserys, and yep, Viserys announces that he will be wed to Alicent Hightower before spring's end, and Corlys goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "No, ridiculous. And then he storms the fuck out of the room. Rhaenyra blinks back tears here, staring at Alicent, never looking at her father. Just locked on Alicent, and she walks right out behind him.
Oh, man. Even though I kind of knew it was coming, it still was just like because this is what I get. In the moment, I'm like, oh, no way.
Well, he chose Alicent. Yeah, like he's not the reason this moment has such gravity, because he takes a huge pause in between the whole I will be wed to. It's like he was announcing the winner of American Idol or some shit. He went full Ryan Seacrest, and the winner is
right after this commercial break.
Yeah, exactly. But Alicent Hightower is to be wed before spring's end, and not looking forward to the coming events, if I must say so myself. But next up, we see Corlys talking to someone about how his family had to scratch their way into wealth and power via hard work, that nothing was given to them. And he says, "I've always thought of you and I as having been made from the same cloth." And the person sitting across from him is Daemon. And this made sense, too. I was like, as soon as he started talking, I was like, he's talking to Daemon. He went straight to Daemon. Because even last episode, whenever they were like, he was like, the succession is clear. Shall we say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Daemon Targaryen. That's the king. He says...
he sees himself in Daemon a little. Mm-hmm. Like, the second son. We're pushed aside. Yes. We have to earn, it's not given to us.
Yeah. He says, we're both men who've had to cut our way through the world. And they're meeting here at Driftmark, the seat of House Valerian, and he fills Daemon in on how Viserys doesn't want to stop the crab feeder, but that stepping into that fight is how Daemon can show his power. And Daemon's like, all right, cool, and he refers to them as like the second sons of the kingdom, and felt that might have been a little bit of a. It's just interesting wording, because the Second Sons was a mercenary group in the first original Thrones show, Game of Thrones. So like maybe there's something here about the beginning of the Second Sons, sort of like.
It's pretty sick if this is how it starts. The Second Sons. There's two of them. It's House Valyria and Targaryen. It's like, I don't know. This would be pretty sick. If this is
epic. It'd be pretty epic, but
so they're already referring to the crab eater. Is that what they call the
crab feeder?
The crab feeder. So they're already referring to him as like someone who's already doing it,
Yeah.
And like in the next Dawn, first I don't know why I thought it was Daemon. I guess maybe he takes the mantle of it. And, maybe goes into it. I don't know why I have the feeling that it's Daemon. I don't know if it's just, it looks like him a little bit in the next Dawn, and, there was a shot that kind of looked like his face and all.
Yeah, whenever you threw that theory at me via text, I was like, that was not something that was even remotely on my radar. So,
And I don't know, I don't know why, but for some reason I see, that this is him in this picture, and the reason, the helmet. The helmet is on. I don't think he can take it off because it was burnt onto him. And if he takes it off, his face is gone.
Comes right off. Yeah.
So like, you know, his arm, skin, everything's already messed up. So his identity is forever. No one will know who it is. If he has his white hair, though, like, it's kind of known that it would be a... So, like, the only way that this is Damon is if he somehow dyes his hair black and there's a mask burnt onto his face. So, like, the little detail of that the crab feeder was already already known to be doing this stuff, like, I don't really think it's Damon anymore.
Right.
I think he will just, like... Because I'm kind of confused on all the antics of it. Is the crab feeder on the side of the free city, like of the pirates? And
yes,
like,
the crab feeder is a pirate who is leading ambushes on shipping lanes that are crucial to the House of Valerian.
okay.
It is the central. It sounds like it is the central place that provides their wealth. These shipping lanes, and they're being ambushed by the crab feeder and his soldiers on the free cities.
Like, am I crazy in thinking that it looks like Damon?
I
Like, does he have blue eyes? Does Matt Smith have blue eyes?
I couldn't tell you.
Yes,
Regardless,
but
I think that whoever this dude is, the crab feeder, I've taken it to be a dude from Essos. I think that it's a group of pirates from Essos, not Westeros, who have come across the sea to inflict some sort of damage to the shipping lanes to get wealth, whatever the fuck. I'm intrigued, though. I'm excited for it. Regardless, the reason I don't think they're going to have any tie to it is because I'm fairly certain Damon's going to ride Caraxes down there and absolutely destroy them. Like, that's the thing, is that
it's what it looked like was happening.
I think he's going to murder
but
everyone down there.
he murders everyone around the crab feeder. He's circled. Like, there's a very obvious someone in the middle of the dragon fire that is not being killed. And I think it's the crab feeder. I think. But, oh, it's after this, yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, you see the dragon shoot fire and just absolutely, like, kind of destroying everyone. But there's someone in the middle of all the fire that's standing there and, like, purposely not hitting them. And at first I'm still of the mind that, like, oh, it could be Damon for whatever reason. And I'm like, but, like, no. So I guess he's just killing everyone, leaving him alive to then, I don't know, talk to him or whatever. But, yeah, right. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the next on. Who is this here? Standing in the middle, it, like, wraps around. Is that Damon right there? Like, I see a little whitish on the top of the head. And it just would be sick if he's, like, in battle, and then he's just like, all right, Dracarys. Like, screw the, like, I've got my, my fun. I've killed a couple people. Go ahead and take them. Like, and then just, like,
Yeah, man, I don't know what to expect of the battle, but the big thing that comes of this preview for me is the fact that we are already certain that next episode, a new child will be presented, Aegon II, child of Viserys and Alicent Hightower.
Damn. I look in a next on. I can't, like, that's kind of crazy to me that they're like, yep, already have a kid.
No,
like,
yeah, and that's the thing, is that means to me they're just like, that detail's not important. It was kind of obvious. Like, in my head, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, yeah, I guess, like, it would have been really on the nose for us to go, well, obviously they'll get married and have kids and he'll have an heir. Like, that's a very natural progression. So I think they're just like, yes, that will happen. It's what else happens that's interesting. Like, it's the stuff around that really, really changes shit. Yeah, man,
like, Viserys telling Rhaenyra, even I don't stand above tradition. Like, this is what I just have to do. It's kind of, he knew that, like, eventually he would have to name his son as heir if he had one. So, like, the conversation's going to come up of, like, sorry, you're not my heir anymore.
Yeah.
And then Rhaenyra is probably going to be like, I don't know. Like, I don't think she's gonna take too kindly. That's like we see her running away on a horse. She gets on a horse and goes somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know why I see her just going off, getting just combat experience. Like, she doesn't want to be locked up in a castle and learn all the professional stuff. Like, she even tells Allison, like, I know all this stuff. I don't care. Like, this stuff does not intrigue me whatsoever. Like,
yeah.
Like, I want to be on the battlefield. No, your battlefield is on the bed. We face it with a stiff lip. No, like, she's like, she's dang. Like,
I'm gonna fuck these bitches up. That's what I mean.
Like, everyone's gonna take their dragon, and it's the only thing that can take down the House of the Dragon is itself. And I think that line will come back a lot. This is episode 2 though of 10 of just season 1. Like, is insane that this is already what we're getting. I feel like it's just way more faster paced than Game of Thrones was.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're already, like, I mean, we got a 6-month time jump here, and then it seems like we'll get at least a 9-month time jump next episode. Like, we're going to have already covered over a year. We already know that Millie Alcock, the girl who is playing Rhaenyra right now, will not be playing Rhaenyra the whole season.
Mm-mm.
Like, she will grow up into a grown woman and then be taken over by Emma Darcy. Like, that's a thing that will happen in this show at some point, which is it's kind of nuts, you know. I really, really enjoy it, but like, we did not have this kind of pacing with the first season of Game of Thrones. At least if we did, it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, no. Like, the walk from Winterfell to King's Landing, like, they kind of showed the walk, like, the travel there. Like, King Baratheon and Ned were, like, just making their way to King's Landing. And, like, it took, like, I don't know, it took, like, a couple episodes for them to even get there. You know, but now it's like, all right, baby's born, 6 months has passed, yep, she's been dead for a while, I don't know. I think this one is just it's like we're reading a history book. All the highlights of the history, all the important stuff that you need, this is just the history book put onto screen.
Right.
And I don't know, it's working right now, at least. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think back to whenever I saw the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. I guess I was binging already, and I wasn't going week to week. But it did not start off this fast, that's for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, the pacing's just been on a different level so far, and I'm really digging it. I like that this is just, like, it's the big moments, you know? Like, we're not gonna... And, like, I do like the small conversations in room style of Game of Thrones, where it was like, yeah, we're gonna spend every second of their journey here exploring what the fuck's happening. And I'm sure we will get that when we need it, but like, I feel like the biggest moments of the season so far have been those small meetings behind the scenes, you know? Like, it's been very effective. But what do you say we give this a good old rating, episode 2 here?
Whew. I'm ready. Yeah, this is, I guess, enjoyment-wise, you know, we were at a 10 pretty much right away. It's the premiere. It was a badass premiere. This one, we got, you know, the face-off of 2 dragons. We didn't see him actually fight, but, like, whoa, cool. I guess maybe that's more for genre, for, like, the fantasy side, but, like, it's part of it. I love the fantasy part, so I feel like it weighs in.
It's fair. It's fair game. You know, it's all to be considered. But
is it a 10 this episode?
An enjoyment for me? No.
Yeah. I feel like it took just a little step down. Like,
I think it did too. Because here's the thing: I was compelled to rewatch the episode immediately, the premiere. And I did turn it on again because of the podcast last night. But that's why I rewatched it.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I was like, oh, I got to rewatch this episode ASAP. Nah, it was because I was like, oh, I want to get a better feel for it before I go on the podcast and talk about it, so I'll give it another viewing. It wasn't because I was like, oh my God, I loved it. It was a great episode. I did really, really enjoy it. However, I forgot about this part. I got you I got you a four-parter here. Favorite character, favorite scene, favorite line, favorite shot.
I forgot about this. Fricker.
I forgot about it until we took that little break in the middle, and I went ahead and filled it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and give mine again, and we'll get it figured out by episode 3. Okay, we'll get it figured out by then. We'll actually have it both presented. But favorite character this episode, easy Rhaenyra. You'll find that everything this week for these favorites is Rhaenyra centered, because she is the best part of this show so far, and she is the best character, and she has the best scene in this far and away. Because my favorite scene is Rhaenyra's arrival at Dragonstone. That's the coolest shit. And then the ensuing conversation between her and Daemon. My favorite line is, "I'm the object of your ire. You want to be the heir, you kill me here. So do it and be done with all this bother." And my favorite shot is at 38 minutes, 17 seconds, as she's walking from her dragon up to everybody, all eyes on her. She is the moment. Everyone is no one's looking away from her in that moment. They're all like, this is where we need to focus. We just had our swords drawn at each other, but let's all take a moment to watch this woman dismount from her dragon. So all of those, same scene, same character. It was all Rhaenyra this week. She was the star of the show. And her moments were 10 out of 10. Her stuff was 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, it wasn't all her. We had a few downer moments, I feel like, as far as the Corlys and Lena and Viserys taking the walk through the garden sort of thing, and that was disturbing. I did really enjoy the episode, but it's not a 10 out of 10 like last week's was. I think I
feel like 8's the floor. Maybe
I think so too. I wouldn't.
5 would be the absolute lowest I could go, maybe. But
8, I wouldn't go lower than 8. In fact, I was more in the 9 range. But maybe an 8 is fair. I feel like my compulsion to rewatch is important, and I didn't necessarily need to. In fact, I spent a lot of time on my phone during the rewatch. I just kind of
I mean, that's the thing. 8 is not bad. It's an 8 on Game of Thrones level. I feel like if we compare this to any other show, well, I don't know, not necessarily, but I feel like 8 it's fair for this. I feel like the premiere, they knew everyone to be watching, they want to get everyone hyped up, so they put a lot of just epic stuff, really cool stuff in there, make it super enjoyable. Now they're getting into the nitty-gritty, the parts they need to set up, all the politics, all the character arcs that they need to set up, and then we'll see the aftermath eventually. It's just this is a necessary episode, and even though it was necessary and dimmed down, it was still a wonderful episode of television.
Epic fantasy medieval television. I think the genre rating will benefit from it greatly. I think this was very, very. I mean, we had a dragon face off. We haven't had a dragon face off in the show yet. No, I think that was pretty awesome. We had the whole, he went down to Dragonstone and took it by force. We got the crab feeder leering on the edges here. It is pretty cool. And you know what? I thought it might be better than the first episode fantasy-wise, but I don't know that it is. I think that the tournament last week and the questions of succession and stuff last week, it felt much more on the nose medievally. I wouldn't go a huge step down. It might be another 8. It might be an 8.5. Somewhere in that range for the genre rating.
I feel like it might be an 8 here. I feel like it depends on who you are. If you like the politics and the that part of the show, then that I feel like they did very well with the politics and all of the little antics that comes with being a king and incest, all of that.
Yeah, I will say, I was sitting here watching it yesterday, and I went, Game of Thrones is fucking back, for real. It's so Game of Thrones, it's crazy, And I felt like last week, maybe even more so than the first week, was just, it felt like a Game of Thrones episode. But
as far as the fantasy side goes, it was pretty much only at Dragonstone
Only
with the
at
dragon
Dragonstone.
face off, and that was
Yeah.
pretty much it. It was really visually insane and awesome. Probably, my favorite shot of the episode. I can't think of another shot that comes close to that one.
Right.
I will remember that just for a while.
Plainly, yeah.
But other than that, it was just getting storylines set up, and it wasn't bad. I feel like I'm talking that like I didn't like it.
8 out of 10 is 8 out of 10. This isn't bad. This. In fact, that's if I label numbers on the 1 to 10 scale, 8 is at the like great point. Like
5 average, 6 good, 7 better,
real good,
8
8
is great, 9 is fantastic. Yeah,
10 is perfect. Like that's 8 is great. But I think it's an 8 out of 10 there. And critically, this is every bit as good as the first episode. It's felt like a very, very cohesive narrative was spun over the course of this episode. The visuals were fucking insane. The writing was really good. The whole subject of this episode, last week it was who was the successor. This week it was who's the wife, who's gonna be the remarry, and we get that all that solution by the end of the episode. Like that's what I love about this television show. There is a cohesive narrative episode to episode that is crucially important to the overall narrative. This episode was centered on the who will be Viserys' new wife, and we got that answer by the end of the episode.
Wow, that's insane. Well, actually having a complete story, they also start 5 new stories at the same time. Like now we have Daemon and Corlys. Like what are they gonna do? What is Alicent actually gonna do now that she is married to him? Is she gonna stay loyal to him or Otto, or is she gonna see them as separate? Kind of not on the same side. We have Rhaenyra that's gonna who knows what now. It's just in a different league of television, and every week I am not disappointed. Like, I don't feel like I'll be disappointed a single week, like, of watching the show.
This is top tier entertainment, my man. And now the question is, like, do I think it was better than last week's? Pretty damn close. I'd say it was probably a 9.5, 9.75 in that range. Like it's
a little better than the first then. If 7.5?
I think it could be. It could be like it depends on on what you're looking for here, because I do love the politics, the small conversations in rooms and stuff, and that's something that this episode excelled at. That was and it had one of those giant dragon moments, which is really, really awesome. And
I'd say I couldn't put it above or below. I think I might just have to tie it there with this one, because
I'm with that.
Last episode seemed more fantastical a little bit, and like you have this big tournament, we have a dragon riding a dragon opening the episode with that. It was a premiere, and they put premiere things in that episode. Now we're in the real part of the show. I feel like it started, we're back full swing. They weren't going for the same thing, but what they were going for.
Do me a favor.
Okay.
Last week we were still on the 5-point scale, so we just multiplied things by 2.
Oh.
And we put things in here. Go ahead and bump episode 1 up to a 9.75, because I don't want
to. I see.
Yeah, I don't like the. If we're gonna do point something, I want it to be 0.25, 0.5, or 0.75.
Yeah.
So if we want to tie it, I'd be much more comfortable with a 9.75.
I like that as well. That just it looks better. Just looks way better. The average will always be something random, but this will, I think, give us a way better. It's not a 9.7 or a 9.65. It's like there. 0.25 difference is enough. Like that's the smallest gap we should go, which I like. But I mean, it puts it a point below. last episode average.
I think that makes sense. It was not nearly as enjoyable, and we weigh our enjoyment very heavily. Like that's something that's crucial for us, and I'm very happy with it coming to an 8.58 out of 5 stars. And an 86 on the old Rotten Tomato meter, which is fresh. It's damn fresh. As compared to last week's 96. I do that tomato for sure.
But man, next Sunday.
Sunday in the blue silver chromium diner.
Yeah, thanks for getting me hooked on that soundtrack. I'm actually not mad at it at all.
No.
I'm very appreciative of it, but
of course. Thank you for listening to it. Everyone be ready for our episode of the 52-year journey through film on Tick Tick Boom coming in 4 months.
December. Be ready for it.
December 23rd, if I remember correctly, is when that episode will be out. But hell yeah. Fire and Bloom, House of the Dragon, number 102, covering season 1, episode 2, The Rogue Prince, comes to a conclusion with the episode shaken out to an 8.58 out of 10. It's a damn good week. A damn good week, and I cannot wait for the House of Dragon to return next week and Fire and Bloom along with it. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 40 hours of exclusive content, including over 9 hours this month alone. Tons of content over there, exclusive book reviews, comic book pull lists every week, movie reviews, all of that shit. Nice and fun. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. Tune in next week for Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast. Once again, remember, peace, love, and bloom. And do it. And be done with all this bother.